Internet, and welcome. So, as I alluded to in my last video where I unboxed February's BoxyCharm, I had some new products that I wanted to geek out over, and that is what we're going to be doing. So, I took advantage of a 40% off sale at Juvia's place, and some of the products that I've been holding off on and convincing myself that I don't need looked a lot more appealing when they were 40% off. To be realistic, if I wasn't trying so hard at the no-buy thing, I would have purchased them at full price a long time ago, but there was an attempt. There was an attempt to not buy makeup at all. And it failed because I had no willpower. So, without further ado, let's get into my bad financial decisions. So, I purchased 3 eyeshadow palettes and 2 of their liquid lipsticks from the Empress collection. First off is the eyeshadow palette that inspired this order in the first place. So the Tribe palette is something that I've been looking at for a while. I love the colors, and although I did take the time to prove that I can dupe it for the most part with products in my collection, minus a couple of these shimmer shades, there's just something about Juvia's Place formula when it comes to their mattes and their shimmers, and in this case, at least these two look like foiled metallics that I can't replicate. So, do as I say, not as I do. Under normal circumstances, I would say it doesn't matter, you can build them up, or you can blend them out, or you can make it work, it's fine. But I just really wanted this palette. So, I'm going to do a couple swatches because, oh my goodness, I love it. I think it's the prettiest thing. So we're going to start on this first row. We'll go with Tootsie, Oromo, and Masai? I'm going to stop pronouncing the names because I can't, and I don't want to offend anyone. So we have our like yellowy, greeny shade, orange. Gotta love a good orange. I did swatches earlier when I first opened the box, and I feel like they were working out a little bit better. But you know, that's how that works. If I'm just playing by myself, everything looks great. So, all right. So our first row mattes. They're so soft. They're so finely milled. They're so punchy and pigmented. So let's go with the next row. These are our more metallic-y shades. I'm kind of curious to see how they feel. Oh my goodness, they're so smooth and buttery. Okay. We have Coro. Oh, look at that. That's so pretty. Changa. Oh, that's like a duochrome. Oh, I love it. And last but not least, Cuba, and I am in love. I am absolutely 125% in love. Moving on to last row. I do like between the orange and the brown, even if you weren't a giant fan of, bright eye looks, you could use those mattes and then just add a little color from one of the shimmers to get a decent eye look. So that is Ashanti. Krula. I'm trying. Let's give me some credit. And San. I think that's an N. So, this is the Tribe palette. This is, oh, it's so pretty. I'm going to have all of the fun with this. All of the fun. I'm going to have to come back and do a playing with new makeup type video because, yeah, that's happening. Probably soon. Like today. Okay, next up we have the Saharan II. So this one is a little I mean, besides the fact that you do get, you know, your pops of blue in there, it's kind of a more neutral, dark colored palette. But the difference I find with this one is you only have 3 matte shades. So the 3 on the bottom are matte. Everything else is a shimmer, kind of metallic-y, foiled goodness. They just look so pretty. All right, so I am not even going to bother with the shade names because I'm just butchering them, and that is bad. So I'm going to start with your top row here. Again, all shimmers in the top. The Tribe palette had 5 mattes and 4 shimmers, which I feel is a little bit, you know, more realistic to what most people like. So we have our first shade here. It's like a peachy, goodness, that's so pretty, so pretty. Our second shade in the center, and then the top right. So you can definitely see how this is more of a almost neutral theme. There are those pops of, you know, blue and kind of seafoam green, but for the most part, you can probably pull off some pretty natural, simple, everyday looks if you're careful. These are very pigmented and very creamy, so I can see over applying them, but the tones are nice for neutral. Okay, now we're moving on to our second row. I feel like even though I do like my colorful shades, the eyeshadow that I'm most excited about in this one is the absolute center shade Nomad, and we'll swatch that in just a second. So we have the dark blue. Then we have the one I'm excited about, Nomad, because it's just, oh man, it's just such a dark bronzy color. I love it. And then our light seafoam green, very, very pretty. So pretty. Okay. And then we'll move on to the last row, which is all mattes. One thing I am noticing as I am swatching these, especially when it comes to the dark green and the Tribe palette, they are, again, they're very pigmented, and they do stain a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Getting that dark green off was an event. There was scrubbing, even with, you know, makeup remover, wipe, and all of its alcohol goodness. So we have Fez. It's the first matte on the bottom row. Zohar. It's kind of a cranberry shade. It comes off so much darker in the pan, but it is really just a cranberry red. And then Taza, kind of a chestnut brown. So, like I said, I could definitely see creating more neutral, toned down, not over the top looks, excluding the 2 bluish shades. But I mean, look at them. Just these eyeshadows are stunning. So with that said, I'm gonna remove these, move on to the last palette, and gush over everything some more, because that is what we do. But if you see while I'm doing this, I am trying to get, and it seems to be more the mattes than the shimmers, but if you can tell, you can still definitely see those swatches. So that'll be something to keep in mind. A little bit of the blue, but it's mostly these matte shades. They're just extremely pigmented. And that's the same with the Magic palette and the first Saharan palette. The mattes are very pigmented, so when you're using it, you need to be careful to put your brush down exactly where you want your color to be darkest and blend out from there. Take, you know, a clean blending brush, nothing on it, and blend out from there, because if you go in with too much product, it's going to be very difficult to move. And I have noticed that in previous looks. So I love these shadows. I don't have a problem with how pigmented they are. But if you are newer to makeup, I can see that being an issue. So light hand, go slow, build up as necessary. These are absolutely amazing. Okay, and then we have the Zulu palette. I've probably already said this, and we'll say it a million times. I just love the packaging on these. Like, it's so creative and so freaking stunning. So, Zulu palette's been out for a while. This was their kind of like bright colored palette. This one also has a lot of mattes. We're dealing with 6 matte shades and only 3 shimmers. And I do like that they tried to include similarly toned mattes for their shimmers. So you have, you know, a matte green and a shimmery green. You also have this green blue, almost turquoisey color that can, you know, go well with your green, or you could blend it with your yellow or what have you. And then you have your red and your reddish brown shimmer. So I feel like they did a good job of pairing colors that you can easily work with. But let's move on to the swatches. Unlike all of the other palettes, this one does not have shade names, and I'm not entirely sure why. They just have the numbers on the back so that you can tell what you're dealing with ingredients-wise, which is always important. So I don't have to butcher the pronunciation of anything. Going with our top row, we have a brown, we have a yellow, we have a bright orange. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. So there's our orange, our yellow, and our brown. This brown is a little bit patchy and powdery. Not loving that. Not a fan. We'll see how it works with a brush. Swatches on the arm are not indicative of how something's going to perform in the eyes. It's entirely possible it's going to look gorgeous, but I won't know until I put it on my eyes. Okay, moving on to the second row, the middle row, with our blues and our greens. Okay, so we have our matte, greenish, bluish color. We have our green shimmer. And our kind of, I don't even know what to call that, sky blue mixed with teal, something. I'm actually kind of surprised that the orange and the yellow are the shades that performed best in swatches. Normally, especially when it comes to yellows, they don't do well. So I feel like this is a little backwards compared to what we normally work with when we're dealing with swatches of eyeshadows. Okay, last row, we have our purples and reds. Okay, so our third shimmer is this pinky, almost golden undertone shimmer shade. Then we have our matte red. There we go, that one's looking nice. And we have our matte purple. I like it. I like it. So for whatever reason, I'm just not liking this brown or this blue-green tone, but all of the other mattes in this palette and elsewhere are performing just fine. Okay, so now that we've gone over the 3 new Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes that I am adding to my collection, as I said, I already have the Magic palette and I have the original Saharan. I love both of them. The Magic palette is actually the original larger one that doesn't fit in any of my drawers, but whatever, it's beautiful and I'm not complaining. So, I'm going to have to do some sort of 5 different palette eye look or something. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out, but that needs to be a thing. I'm just going to play with all the Juvia's Place palettes. Anyway, last but not least in this video, before I say sayonara, is the liquid lipsticks from the Empress collection. I was really curious to try out the formulas, so I picked up the Mina matte and metallic duo. I have them right here. So, we have our metallic and we have our matte. I will do some swatches. I did try and swatch these before filming this, and I have to say I don't feel that the metallic is very metallic. It's not bad by any means. I definitely like it. I think it's a very pretty shade, but I wouldn't call it metallic. That being said, it is a very, very gorgeous shade, and I'm happy to have it. Also, after it dries, I noticed that layering it seemed to help a bit. So that was Mina and the metallic formula, and then we're going to do a swatch of Mina in the matte formula. So we'll put that right down here. I feel like the matte is more pigmented, Maybe that's just me, but again, doesn't hurt to let dry and layer. I have not tried these on my lips yet, so I don't know how long they will last in terms of wear throughout the day. They're kind of a dark and vampy shade, which is why I wanted them. It's like a blackberry. It's so pretty. But I will have to take the time to try them out to see how they wear throughout the day. I've never tried any of the Juvia's Place lipsticks before, so it's going to be an experience. Let's wait for that to dry and throw another coat on and see if we can get the metallic just a little shimmerier. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. They're not entirely dry, but they're mostly dry, so we're just going to move on to layering things up. We'll start off with the metallic, and we'll see how this works out. See if we can get it a little bit shinier, because metallic means metallic. I do love that it applies without being streaky. Like I'm very happy with the way that this applied, how smooth it is, and how when it was drying, I would say they both dried pretty smooth. My experience with colors this dark is they will take any excuse to get streaky and they will look like shit. So I'm very happy with these so far. We'll obviously see how they wear on the lips as opposed to swatches on my arm, but moving on, we have the matte. Doing another layer here. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how it looks on camera, but how it looks in person, I'm happy. There definitely is a difference between the matte and the metallic formula, but I wouldn't necessarily call it metallic. I would say it's more of a satin finish. As I said, it does take a little while to dry, but I'm happy with the color. So I am going to put my arm down now, and I believe we will call this video quits. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found my lack of willpower and desire to buy more Juvia's Place palettes amusing. I hope that you are having a wonderful day or night, depending on when you are watching this, and I will see you in the next video.
Peace out.